welcome to Tune Into Wellness today. My name is LisaMarie Tersigni. I am the owner and founder of a company called Inspiring Wellness Solutions. Inspiring Wellness Solutions specializes in helping people through disease management, disease prevention, weight loss, and overall feeling good about themselves. Today, we're going to interview 3 health and wellness practitioners specializing in the energy world. Tune Into Wellness's program is guised and designed to offer to you, the community, these wellness practitioners to discuss and educate you on their modalities and services. Our first guest today is Sandra Marnell. Sandra is an RN, a certified healing touch practitioner, a spiritual counselor, and a recovery practitioner as well, drug and alcohol recovery practitioner. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you, Lisa.
So good to have you. So good to see you. The last time I saw you, it was this cold about a year ago.
Yes, it was.
Right?
Yes, it was.
Oh, great. Thank you for being here. Today we're going to touch specifically and talk about your certification in healing touch. Can you tell us what healing touch is?
Healing touch is one of the energy modalities, of which there are several. Healing touch is a modality that is actually a natural healing process, promotes and enhances health and wellness and our natural ability to heal. It involves like a light touch or near touch from the practitioner. It involves the intention of both the practitioner and the individual who's receiving the energy work. There's lots of research on healing touch. I'm just very happy to be here so that we can enlighten our viewers about some of the options that they have available to them. Because we're talking. Oh,
so glad to have you here. And there are so many energy-based modalities available and services out there. I'm a Reiki master, as an example. That's one form of energy healing. So with all the modalities available, why did you personally choose healing touch?
I chose healing touch because one reason, it was developed by a nurse, Janet Menton, and that was appealing to me. At the time that I became aware of energy medicine, I was working in an emergency room, a very crisis-oriented environment that certainly affected me and everyone else. And I started to becoming aware of the interconnectedness of mind and body and emotion and mental and physical health, and how important that was for my personal wellness, but also for the people that I was caring for. And Sister Rita Jean Dupree, who is the clinical director of complementary therapies at St. Mary's in Amsterdam, offered an introduction to energy medicine. So I thought, definitely this is something I need to explore. And I just found a sense of balance, a real potential
with
for,
you.
absolutely. And then that started my journey, my path, which has been very spiritual. And I don't mean that in a religious nature, but in the belief that good things can happen, in the belief that, in fact, we can contribute to our health and wellness, our stability.
We are spiritual beings in truth.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you.
Absolutely.
I've noticed, I was in the healthcare industry, managed care healthcare for over 20 years, and I noticed in the last handful of years that more and more medical people in the medical community are accepting, this spiritual, holistic energy type of healing, which is fabulous. It's amazing. Can you touch on that? Have you noticed that as well?
I think we are so fortunate to be in an area where there are hospitals and medical practices and multiple practitioners that offer all these different modalities. And I'm thrilled to be a part of this and to be here at a time when, with healthcare challenges, it's such an opportunity to be able to offer something that is non-toxic, that is a natural healing modality, and that people can experience and also learn to do for themselves and their loved ones.
Why do you think, being you have the medical model and now the non-medical model, why do you think that community is accepting this more so today?
I think what we're seeing now is a melding of both. We're seeing some definite research. If people were to go to the Healing Touch program website, they would be able to look at some research, some of it hundreds of studies, and some sponsored by the National Institute of Health, We have the benefit of a certification process now, which ensures that there is a standard of practice, a code of ethics, a group of peers and professionals that oversee that, in fact, this is something that belongs in our Western medical model and can be done in collaboration with our traditional therapies or as a standalone.
I think they call it alternative or complementary today. They're looking at it as
Sure.
a complementary to the medical model. The NCCA has now accepted the healing touch as a valid type of healing form.
Absolutely.
Can you touch on that just a little bit?
That is a wonderful thing. And again, as I said, it is global, it is worldwide. Healing Touch has also been endorsed by the American Nursing Society, the Canadian Holistic Nurses, the American Holistic Nurses. So we're getting out there, and Healing Touch is being taught in many universities and nursing schools and hospitals.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Would you please give all of us 2, 3 benefits, maybe 4, that a client or patient might receive from a Healing Touch treatment?
Absolutely. We know of the psychological effects of illness. Our emotions affect us with either chronic illness or acute illnesses. Healing Touch relieves physical pain, also relieves mental pain, reduces anxiety, can eliminate or reduce depression, supports the immune system so that people can receive the benefit of the natural healing a natural healing ability that we all have. So I'm really happy. It also can enhance some of the medical procedures that we receive.
You are a recovery coach and trainer,
I am.
correct, for
I am.
substance abuse. So, and I understand Healing Touch can help those that are going through withdrawal. Again, we're running out of time, but I do want you to touch on that a little bit. How does that help them with that withdrawal process?
Behavioral health in general, and particularly addiction recovery, to alleviate some of the physical symptoms, to alleviate some of the fear, is really such support for someone who is going through withdrawal from substance use or even some of the toxic effects of using substances. It's also very good for relapse prevention, part of recovery, to learn something that you can do for yourself every day, so that in fact all of us need to escape, relax, relieve our discomforts, physical and emotional, and we should not have to be using drugs or alcohol or food or other behaviors. We should have the availability of some natural healing modalities, and I think that's what's talked about on your program, so I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you, Sandra. If you would like more information from Sandra, please reach out to her at marnellsandra@yahoo.com. Thank you, Sandra, for being here. So great to
You're
have
welcome.
you.
Glad to be here.
So our next guest today is Jamie Verrillo. Jamie has an extensive history working with our animal kingdom. Many, many years ago, when he was a little bit younger than he is now, he used to work in the racing industry, and at that time he realized he had a special gift for working with horses, particularly misunderstood and troubled horses. And from there, Jamie went on to do a little bit of research and spiritual analysis, I guess, if you will, and came to understand the bond between animals and humans, and also studied a program called Access Consciousness, which we heard about in our last television show. So Jamie's going to speak to us today a little bit about his growth and his work with the animal kingdom. Welcome, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Great to have you.
Yeah, great to be here,
Good to
LisaMarie.
see you again. I am an incredible animal lover. Love them so much and can't wait to someday have an animal sanctuary. That's like one of my dreams. Tell me what it is that you are doing with the animals, the actual process as you're communicating with them.
Well, what I do is talking to animals, communicating with animals. Some people call me an animal whisperer. And for me, it just comes natural to me. Like you explained me being in the horse business. I just have always had this affinity for animals and children, and which just allowed me to just create, when I'm with animals, it's just it's a feeling of just being in a space where there's an invitation to be who I say more of who I be. And from that space, the animals acknowledge that, and it's easy to communicate with them.
And how do you communicate with them? Is it a vocal communication or a spiritual connectivity or a combination?
Yeah, it's a combination. Sometimes words don't have to be spoken because animals don't communicate by words. They communicate by energy. So acknowledging the energy. That's the big thing with animals is when I'm working with clients that have, dogs or horses, I'm always getting this awareness of them wanting to be acknowledged in some way. And that acknowledgement that we can give to them is opening a door for the communication, I say. And from that space, you have an opportunity then to receive whatever the gift is they're offering.
Why
in that
do you
moment.
think that you are able to receive these messages? What is it that you are doing? Are you being more present? Are you understanding that connectivity? What is it that makes you special?
Yes, makes me special. Thank you.
You're so special.
Yeah, well, it's just what you said. It's being present. Because animals are always in present moment awareness. So when you step into that, when you're in present moment, as I show up being in present moment awareness, they acknowledge that. They recognize that. So in that instant, there's an acknowledgement and the communication starts to take place. So from that, I'll start asking questions. And what I'll do is, it's asking questions to allow them to have a choice. And it sounds so simple, and you mentioned access consciousness, and access consciousness kind of blew the door off of my procrastinating this whole process of communicating with the animals for me. But just the simple fact that an animal has a choice, where they've been stuck in some sort of space from whatever they have picked up, from a projection, rejection, any sort of limitation, expectation that we put on them. And giving them a choice just frees up the awareness for them, and things start to change for them.
Who would reach out to you? Give me an example of someone that might reach out to someone like you, and why would they do that? I mean, their dog is having bad behaviors, or what would be perceived to be. Who would reach out to you?
Yes, people that have animals that are having people problems. So, I get calls from people that have horses, and I'll give you an instance from a gal that I work with downstate. She had this horse, and she said, I'd like you to come down and, work with my horse, and it was more about working with her. So the horse was here, his name was Sonny and Susan, and I'd ask questions, okay, so what's going on here? And it's just amazing, because the animals are more conscious than us, let's face it.
Absolutely.
And, the space that's created when you step into that, the awareness that comes up, it's just quite amazing. But and so asking questions, so what was going on with her. So immediately I got asking her the question. So she was having a problem. She couldn't ride him. This was a 20-year-old horse, and he didn't look, his age at all. He was beautiful energy. We stood there in a pen. He didn't even have his halter on. He was just like, what I got was he was like waiting for someone to step in to assist her where she was struggling. She couldn't ride him. She was afraid to ride him, actually, so she put a younger girl on him to try and ride him, and he bucked her off. And what I got was he wasn't interested in this girl riding him. He was interested, what we got to was through the questions and with Susan was that he was interested in her communicating with her, because she was separating herself from her, and she had other issues, and that's what's usually going on. There's these whatever thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are going on with people in relationships and family. Our animals are picking all of this kind of stuff up, so they're showing up as I say, as a gift. Are you going to show up being willing to receive this gift?
And why do some people resist that versus choose that gift?
Great question. Most people don't realize they have choice. Most people are stuck in whatever it is going on in their life. But the good news is that they're willing to be with animals or have animals, and I love people that adopt animals and rescue and all that kind of stuff. And so the animals show up for them, almost like this kind of
For their healing.
For their healing, yeah.
So to sum it up, you are, from what I'm hearing, really you call an animal facilitator, but you're bringing healing into a human's life as well. A non-human animal and a human animal, essentially, because we're all animals, right? So you have this duality of healing going on during your facilitating. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess you would say that. And the cool thing about all of this is I like to say that, because I'm showing up asking the questions, and I'm so grateful that I know, and I always ask, what contribution can I be here? And how can I empower you, to know that you know? And, that's without having a vested outcome or conclusion of what's going to happen, because I really don't. But I do know that everyone has some sort of, knowingness of, whatever it is.
At some level.
At some level. And the cool thing also is that when I'm doing whatever it is, people say, you're a healer, and, it sounds good and everything. But I've acquired these tools from Access that these animals, and particularly horses, they just have the innate intelligence. They heal themselves. I don't do any healing. I show up, speak the language, connect with the energy, run some processes and tools on them, and the change just happens, because change doesn't take place on a cognitive level. It takes place on an energetic level. As you well know, you work with energy. So it's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Thank you so much for what you are doing. I absolutely love it. I think it's fabulous. If you would like more information on Jamie Verrillo, you can reach him at www.animalfacilitator.com. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, thank you so much, LisaMarie.
You're very welcome. Our third guest today is Reverend Joselle Gagliano. Reverend Gagliano is a interfaith minister, a church chaplain. She specializes in spiritual counseling, and she is a hypnotist that specializes in past life regression. Welcome, Dr. Reverend Gagliano. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, and thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for being here today. I'm so glad you're with us. Also, I have a personal question before we start with the interview. You are an attorney.
Yes, I am. I don't practice law any longer.
I was going to say
I'm still licensed. I simply don't practice law.
For 20 years. And so
30.
that 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
That field can be adversarial at times.
It can be.
But you're now in this beautiful energy healing field. What was the transition? May I ask you that? How did you go from one to the other?
Well, actually, I practiced social welfare law, and I worked for the state of New York. And the reason why I became an attorney was to be of service to others. It wasn't money-oriented, And so it was a very easy transition for me to make when I felt that my legal career was drawing to a close, for me to look for ways to continue to be of service, and becoming an ordained interfaith minister was the path that I chose.
Beautiful. So past life regression.
Yes.
Why would someone choose to have a past life regression session with you?
Past life regression can assist people in understanding nagging issues that have kind of dogged them through their lives. They may have experienced dreams that they can't otherwise explain that are extremely vivid. They may have a déjà vu experience. They may have an unexplained fear. They may feel that they have a familiarity with a place or a time that's otherwise unexplained to them. And engaging in a past life regression session will assist them possibly in retrieving memories from a previous life, which will give them a basis and an understanding of perhaps why they're afraid of small spaces, why they're afraid of heights, why they have that memory. And it can enrich your life tremendously. It can deepen your understanding of yourself as an eternal being, as opposed to a being that lasts for only a short period of time and then, like a candle, is snuffed out. That isn't the case.
Beautiful.
We continue.
Tell me a little bit about what that process is. If I were to come in to see you, how do you walk me through that process?
Well, I take some time to get to know the person, and together we discuss what their goals might be. Their goal may be simply exploration. Maybe they've done some reading on past life regression and they'd like to experience a session. They may have other concerns or goals that they would like specifically addressed. So we get to know each other a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then we move through, I as the facilitator and the individual as the client. The individual is relaxed and a state of hypnosis is induced. They remain conscious, they remain able to communicate with me, and they are taken to a pleasant childhood memory, and then possibly to the in utero state, and then beyond the in utero state to the place or moment prior to this lifetime which is most significant to them.
I have read a little bit about this, past life regression, and I understand that there are some people who have had traditional psychiatry work, traditional therapy type of work for many years, and it did not resolve what their sufferings were, but then past life regression was able to do that for these people. And psychiatry is a beautiful field, and I'm not dismissing it at all, but there are some people, no matter how much traditional therapy they have had, have found that this type of work that you're doing has brought them to this place of healing. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Well, there's no replacement for clinical psychiatry, clinical psychology. Certain conditions, certain human conditions respond best to those modalities. Mm-hmm. And I would never say
Absolutely.
that past life regression would be a substitute for that.
Mm-hmm.
However, past life regression is a very gentle process. You maintain consciousness. You're simply quite relaxed. You should have a sense of trust in the individual with whom you're working. And you can go to places that are mystical. I guess that's the best word, mystical. Because current science is actually catching up with past life regression. There are physicists that are doing work to demonstrate the validity of the results of past life regression. But at the moment, they're doing a catching up process. Mm-hmm. And so to use the word mystical, I think, is best, because the individual is able to travel using their creative imagination and using their own personal sense of receptivity to places and times which have profound import for them.
Okay. Can you tell me what are some of the benefits someone may receive from a past life regression session?
It is not uncommon for someone to get a better understanding of talents that came to them quite naturally. It is not uncommon for someone to understand why they have certain pains or certain otherwise difficult to address physical ailments. Also, certain fears might be otherwise explained.
Great. And better sleep performance, have you noticed that a benefit
Good
as well?
energy,
Good.
Better sleeping. Sometimes it can be used in conjunction with weight management because, for example, if someone in a previous life had experienced starvation, then in their current life they would still retain that concern about not having enough. Experiencing a past life in which you experienced starvation would help explain to you why you have that feeling of I don't have enough. And you can address it, and very often once addressed, some of these concerns are lessened extremely and respond very well to teamed modalities.
That is so interesting. That is really a very interesting concept. Thank you so very much for being with us today, Reverend. It's just amazing that you're doing this work, and I really do appreciate it. If you would like more information on Reverend Gagliano and the work that she does, you can reach her. Thank you so much.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me. You have a great day.
Thank you, you as well. Well, we've wrapped up another show of Tune In to Wellness today. We do hope that you found it to be informative and enlightening. I encourage you to reach out to all of these practitioners with any questions you may have, or certainly feel free to reach out to me, LisaMarie at InspiringWellnessSolutions.com. Next month, we will have 3 new practitioners, so please do join in and become acquainted with them as well. Thank you, and until then, be well, be happy, and be alive.